and I sing it every night, and I fight to hide the tears, 'cause this one's for you, this one's for you. This one's for you, wherever you are.
That's still the best intro.
It's still so good. It's my favorite.
I love it every time. Pretty much like the last podcast that we did, I just turned it on to listen to the intro just to see how well it flowed into what we were doing.
And it was, did you like it? Did you like how it came out?
It was so good. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Diner Boys podcast. Wow, I already messed up the word podcast, which is what we're doing.
It's okay.
This is a show where we get together, we laugh, cry, and answer questions. My name's Ben, and today we have with us, as always...
I'll go first. I'm Johnny.
Hi, Johnny.
I'm making
Johnny.
tea. We started already?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Just make your tea.
Go
it's
make your
fine.
tea.
I'm making
Goodbye.
my tea.
Bye,
Yeah.
Johnny.
Bye.
I'm Darian, and
Hi,
I'm
Darian.
over here.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
How you doing, Darian?
I'm doing good. Kind of tired. It's
Been a long...
It feels like it's been a long week, but I'm good. I just was woken up abruptly by animals.
A lot of loud barking dogs.
Well, namely my cat, and because he's awful. And I
Oh,
left my
well,
door
earlier
open.
we tried to do the podcast, and it sounded like the midnight bark was going on above, like from Lady and the Tramp.
That's every day. That's every
And that
day.
might have just been your, next door neighbors, the human beings. But,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, the dog, and then at least it was only barking, because usually it'll be throwing its entire body against the cage
Gross.
and just be rattling like no tomorrow.
Dude, animals suck.
I mean, I don't know about that. I like animals.
No. Animals, no. 0 animals for life.
Oh no, I love
What-
animals.
Don't be that way.
Let's jump into the first topic of what are animals useful for?
They're useful for so
For
many things.
love
It's
and
like
companionship.
it's like an always child, like your child in its least lovable state. Like, hey, you're pooping and peeing everywhere and being loud at night and all that stuff, and you're always gonna be this way. Like, animals don't improve like people do. Like, they don't eventually just take care of themselves.
Well, no, but you take the point of an animal is to have an animal. It's a companion. It's part of the point is to take care of it if you want to be a good owner.
I mean, one day we'll have Pokemon. Like, you know what the best part about Pokemon is? When you're done with them, they go back in the ball.
I mean,
Hey, I want a cool companion now and again. Go, animal. And then it comes out of the ball, and you're like, my best friend. All right, I'm done with you. Back in the ball.
I never thought of it this way.
I
Which,
mean,
kind of dark. Pokemon, dark thing.
actually, very dark thing. But that's the thing. People always kind of twist it to is if we had Pokemon in real life, wars would be different.
Yeah, you're right. Right? I have the best animal. What if you brought the you brought the wrong ball with you, and you're like, go
Shoot!
out, fire Blastoids, and Pichu comes out, and he's like, I don't want.
Why do you have a Pichu?
Look, because Pichu could be a good friend.
It
all
could be
right?
a good
And he
friend.
has tiny lightning and everything.
He hurts himself though. It's not a good match.
I mean, you're right.
I mean, I wouldn't worry about it.
Bottom line, animals suck.
Speaking of wars and Pokemon,
I mean, you
though,
can have that as your own opinion. You don't speak for all of us.
That's gonna be our first merch T-shirt. Is animals suck.
Animals.
I don't agree with this.
Okay.
You'll just make the t-shirts independently and sell them.
And I'm gonna sell them on my Facebook page. I'm gonna make an entire page just for me that says "Animals Suck" T-shirts, and that's all I'm gonna sell.
That would be pretty great, actually.
But yeah, speaking of Pokemon and wars, you ever wonder what war was going on with Lieutenant Surge?
Oh yeah,
Generation
because
one.
he was a lieutenant in the Pokemon, the Great Pokemon War or whatever.
This is gonna be a conversation between the two of you because I don't actually know a lot about Pokemon lore. My favorite Pokemon though is Dugtrio.
Why is that?
Because all other Pokemon evolutions are just I get more awesome. Doug is just another Doug.
There's just more.
There's just
of
more
me.
3 times. It's this is as good as it gets. But just imagine everybody else around you is just getting bigger and getting more guns and getting more fire and a bigger dragon, and it's just oh, I'm here again. We're all hanging out. There's another me this time.
But, does Dugtrio share one mind? Do they share?
I'd like to I feel like it's more like a clone. situation. Like they're all the same, but it's different, but in the same pot.
Like, do you think under the ground they're all connected somewhere?
They're attached, right? At some
Are they?
some way.
That would make sense.
Let's
but-
talk about the Pokemon Doug's anatomy really quick.
Well, we haven't seen it.
Well, we've seen a lot of artist interpretations. Whereas my favorite is you have the Doug Trio
I
head,
know
and
which one
then
you're talking
underneath
about.
you've got big old muscular bodybuilder man underneath the ground.
Johnny, is your tea finished yet?
It's about done. You probably
right.
heard it.
Let's
in
go. Let's go pick
in
it
the
up off the
podcast.
kettle really quick.
I shall.
So get you away.
Then we'll jump into some topics. Darian, did you have a topic for us?
No.
Done yet.
If I had
You
to-
don't have a topic,
if I'm gonna be-
Darian?
if I'm gonna be-
Again.
if I'm gonna be honest, no, I don't.
Darian, don't let me
But-
like destroy you on the podcast again, just because. Why don't you not? Darian, you're the only one that I sent a text message to, and I'm like, Darian, make sure you have
Make
something.
sure I have topics.
Make sure you have something written down. And Darian is the only one that doesn't have a topic.
No, that's a lie.
So I have topics, but they're just not written down.
They don't have. They just have to be in existence.
Yes, the topics are there.
They have
And
to
two.
exist.
Well,
Of which you know about.
I'm sorry. I do have a topic, but I didn't think it was good, so I didn't want to share it.
No, you gotta share it up.
Okay.
We're ready.
It was just about art. I had
Okay.
thought a lot about art this week, just in general, because with my new job, it's kind of like I've had very little time to think about anything other than learning this job, just
Okay.
because there was so much in it. But like I saw on Twitter, someone had posted a Salvador Dali piece that I hadn't seen before,
Yeah.
and
So we're talking like just strictly pictures, I guess.
I
Or-
guess. I mean, any mediums, but like, if it like made me pause. Like in this busy week of like me running around and constantly going, it made me like stop and think. So like,
So you
I
get-
was wondering if you had any sort of mediums, any sort of arts that you had affected you like recently, like anything that like you had to like stop and look at it or hear it or touch it or whatever and really appreciate it.
Do you get like anything out of abstract art here and there?
Sometimes, yeah. Like I mean, this Dolly piece, I don't remember the name of it. Like I saw it like on Monday, but it was just it like it's weird to try to explain feelings about abstract art, but you look at it and sometimes it makes you like you never would have thought to look at something that way.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most sake of the most popular one, he had that one melty clock one where he had those clocks that were like melting all over the
Yes,
place.
yeah.
You know, time is
Sounds good.
degrading and slipping away.
His most
Is
famous piece, the melty clock.
the melty
Yes.
clock.
Tis a good one.
You know,
I love
it's
that one.
like to me that's kind of what that meant. But I don't, you know,
Yeah.
it's time is corroding and melting and bending and shifting. Kind of is how I thought about it one of the first times I saw it.
I think just kind of like staying on the topic of just like regular art pieces, I guess, just like standard art pieces.
Yeah.
I really like Rembrandt a lot. I don't know if you've
Rembrandt.
ever seen any of his like pictures or anything like that, or
I mean-
paintings rather. Excuse me, all you art critics that are listening right now. Paintings.
I mean, probably so, but I mean,
It's kind of like he took a step up from everyone else because he used a lot of shadows and it created a lot of mood, which is really interesting. So it's like he would paint sometimes on like a black canvas or painted black canvas to start with, and then he would just like add in the color from there. So it's like he was working inside of the shadows. So it was just like he used a lot of that blackness in order to make different lighting styles, which is like a lot of paintings, like early paintings didn't have a lot of depth, I guess, and his just like really had a certain kind of mood, and I was like, wow, this is art. Art makes sense to me now because it's like I actually feel something from this painting as opposed to just like, oh yeah, that's another picture of lions or kings or something that I don't really
look
care
at that
about.
nice column.
Ooh,
That's a nice column.
I love that other lady without a head. She looks great.
No, I've got some Rembrandt paintings up on my phone right now.
This has become the painting podcast, by the way.
Oh, okay.
It's just that's what I
Paintings only.
Second to Bob Ross.
Oh, guys, you don't want to get me started on Bob Ross. I love Bob Ross so much, but we won't talk about that right now. We'll get into that in a minute.
That's another thing. That's
Well,
a
we're already
whole-
on the
Johnny,
topic.
tell us about paintings really quick, Johnny.
So paintings for me, Paintings for me. Recently, one that's stood out to me a lot is actually one that I own. It's the last painting I bought. It's hanging above my
Yeah, you're a guy that
bed.
actually like buys paintings for himself.
Yes, I do buy
That's
paintings.
like a big boy thing.
Like-
I've
like-
bought a painting.
like a painting that opened a line of credit. In
Johnny's
your
pretty
name.
much like the only person that I know that will buy paintings.
I
I don't know
love
anybody
art.
else who has bought a painting.
You're like, I'm okay with it.
You're like one of the only people that's qualified to talk about paintings, because pretty much the only thing that I have like associated with paintings is I've been to the National Art Museum twice.
I'm so proud of you.
And it's literally like 2 hours away. Like, it's not even that hard to get to. I've only been there twice.
No, so this one painting I'm about to talk about, it's the last one I bought. It's been a few months since I bought it now, though. But it's called Rise Above. The artist is Mark Keithy.
Mark Keithy.
Yes, Mark Keithy.
What does it mean to
We'll have
you?
provide a link.
It's Ceathley is how you spell his last name.
Look him up.
First
He has
name.
his own Facebook page.
He does,
makes
actually.
T-shirts.
No, we can recommend you do that, though.
Maybe.
But this painting that I have, like I said, it's hanging above my bed in my room. It's of a group of Indians on horseback in the mountains, the Rocky Mountains.
It's a very beautiful piece.
It's very stoic
It
and
is nice. I like that.
yeah, I've got it up on my phone for those who can't see, which is all of you. But the detail in it,
Post a link
the
to this
color,
picture.
the lighting, it's all just very profound
Yeah, that's really
and
nice.
very realistic looking. Also, I have a personalized sketch on the back of this painting.
Is that by him?
Yeah,
too?
this was by Keithy. The weekend after I bought the painting, he came into that establishment that I bought the painting and was.
So you
doing
met him before?
I did not meet him, no,
Okay.
because I was not there.
Oh, yeah.
I was there the week before, but I told them to hold on to my painting for me. Don't ship it to me yet.
Yeah, that's
so
really
that
nice.
he can do the sketch on the back, and he did a little,
little
teepee.
personalized sketch.
He made a little teepee on the back, and it's super cute, and I love it.
It
like
is super neat.
And then he signed it. It makes me happy.
Yeah. So that's cool. Does it mean things to you?
Well, so as you two know, I do have some Cherokee heritage in me, and it's probably part of it's the one thing in my past that of my heritage that I really cherish, and I take a lot of pride in it. There was just something about learning about the Indian culture, or the Native American culture, I should say. Wow, I'm a heathen.
I know you've been saying Indians this whole time.
That part
man.
of you is just screaming inside. We're native.
No, you dumb! Don't you do it!
Yes, but I take a lot of pride in my Native American culture. I love learning about it. I love learning about my my great-great-great-grandfather, Chief Sorrel Horse. So whenever I see that, I just think about my heritage, and it makes me feel great inside.
It's cool.
Yes.
It's a good one.
So, like, other kinds of art. Have you had, like, were you talking about something specifically that you... Like, I know you mentioned the painting, but was there anything else that you were thinking about recently that kind of affected you art-wise?
I mean, not especially, I guess. I mean, I don't want to steal Johnny's topic.
Steal
but,
any thunder.
an album came out recently that was very much
An album we're going to talk about?
yes, one that we
okay.
are going, which is why I didn't want to offer that.
Well, we can go ahead and bring up the album if you're going to talk about the artwork.
Well, I mean, the artwork was really nice. I wasn't talking about the artwork of the album.
It's Copeland's album.
It is Copeland's new album.
Yeah, their new
Blushing.
Ooh.
Oh yes. Look at that segue. Y'all are welcome.
So you're just going to talk about the album art? Because I thought it was really good.
I mean, I love the
album-
album. I adore it
Yeah.
because they kind of like they've been doing this. They did the thing when they started releasing the singles like a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
They had like a superimposed like section of it
Yeah.
as like the single covers, and like they would post those on Instagram. That's how I found out they were making new stuff. Was like they just posted a picture of something, and I was like, what's this?
Yeah.
And so they started releasing it, and the album artwork for it is very nice and
Yeah, I really liked it. Like, that
Very-
was one of the things that stood out to me about
Mhm.
it. I was like, this is... Because it's kind of like... it's kind of like clouds, but it's also like blended a
Yeah.
little bit. Like it's kind of like
Mhm.
fading, I guess, too.
Yeah.
It's like... And their whole like I like when bands do that. Is like when they're on an album cycle, they'll like pick a certain like color scheme.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty cool. Is like especially like Jack White, he'll do his entire career in one color scheme. So it's like when he was in White Stripes, they were red and black. And now I think he's doing like blue and gray for his solo stuff, and like everything, like every picture that he'll post online is in blue and gray, and every picture that he'll do for that, like his music videos are in blue and gray, and stuff like that.
Keeping with the aesthetic is really cool, and it's really good. And for this album, like with the subject matter, with it being, because I mean it was released on Valentine's Day, which was awesome.
Hold on. Before we get into that, I do want to rewind and talk a little bit more about the artwork, because they did something with the artwork and the singles leading up to the album artwork being debuted.
Okay.
And so in this picture, or in this series of pictures, within the clouds of pink and purple and grays, is this couple that's leaning in to kiss. And so the first one they released, you sort of see them leaning in, the next one leaning in more and more and more. And by the time you get to the album artwork being released, they're in this passionate kiss with one another. And I love how they did that whole, like, leading into it. Yeah, it was, it's so beautiful. I love it so much. I'm hooked on this album.
I just like the coloring, because it's, like, at the same time, like, pretty vibrant. Like, you see the colors in it, and you really, like, it's just, it's a gorgeous color scheme, but at the same time, with the way it's, like, faded and splotchy and what have you, it's, like, the way that love and a relationship can be.
Well, not only that, but even in regards to the actual music that's on the album, it's, in a lot of ways, it's very reminiscent of that. Because you have some songs on there that aren't fully in sync with one another, which I personally love about some of the stuff on there. For example, the song, what's it called?
Colorless?
Not Colorless. It was one of the singles they released, On Your Worst Day.
Oh.
How you have like the hi-hat sync, or the hi-hat bit just out of sync ever so slightly with the rest of the song. It sort of gives it that blended, faded, blurred sense when you're listening to it. And I think the album artwork definitely reflects that.
Because in a relationship, it's not always going to, y'all aren't always going to be in sync. Not always going to be on the same page. And
Ooh, that's good.
Sometimes I wonder if like all of this is as thought out as it becomes, because there's like some things about art, especially like abstract art, or even things that we're like doing now with the album artwork. It's just like, did anyone actually like plan this out, or was it just something that everyone just like, oh, this is it, and it like makes so much sense? I wonder how much like satisfaction that people who made the art get out of it, because they're just like, yeah, I guess. Like, that's exactly what I meant to do.
Well, I think with Copeland and Aaron Marsh more specifically, he's, especially over the years, he's matured a lot in... Copeland itself has matured a lot in their sound. They've taken it with their older stuff like Beneath the Medicine Tree and... it's such a good album.
good stuff.
And why am I am like losing my thought train on all this.
It must be the tea.
That's the tea. What did I put in the tea, guys?
I mean, you have Beneath the Medicine Tree, In
You Are
Motion,
My Sunshine.
You Are My Sunshine is where I think they had hit one of their most refined points before they kind of stopped off. Because between Ixera in 2014,
yeah.
And before that, which I'm pretty sure was You Are My Sunshine,
There was a
big old break. I think they like actually broke up. That or they just stopped. And but then you had like Eat, Sleep, Repeat, In Motion, and Beneath the Medicine Tree being their previous albums, and those were all very like starting at Beneath the Medicine Tree and moving forward, refined each a little more time.
Yes, but I feel like with Ixera and with this new album Blushing, they've taken a sound that is much more low key, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like the other ones, you had like full bands almost every song the entire time.
Yeah.
You had drums going on in the background, bass, guitar, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But they started to get a lot more synthy and a lot more ambient with Ixtra and with Blushing. Especially with, I mean, Ixtra Twin? Come on.
Ixtra Twin, yeah.
It's literally all sounds.
Just so I'm like I'm like getting the picture here. Are we just jumping right into the new Copeland album as Johnny's topic? Or
Fuck it, let's jump right into
Yeah,
the
let's
Copeland
just
album.
go right into
We finished mine.
I
We
mean,
finished mine.
like,
We
well, I had a
talked
couple
about
more
art.
things to say about album artwork, but
Oh,
we
well,
can
I
just
do-
go.
I
We
do
can just
want
go
you-
right into
No,
Copeland album
I want you to talk
for the
about,
sake of the podcast.
I would love
talk
to
about
hear-
your talk about what art album art's affecting.
Well, I was just
yeah.
because me and Darian have recently jumped on this app called Vinyl.
Yeah.
There's
and it's
an
just
app called Vinyl?
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
sorry I didn't invite you to that.
Well, that's because you don't have any records nor
Yeah.
interest.
So
in
it's
records,
basically
so-
like a record collecting app, and you can just like catalogs which records that you want and which ones that you actually have in your collection.
Mhm.
And for me, it's been like, oh, I get to see, like, I think my favorite part of like actual albums, like the record itself, is like having the artwork, in your hand.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Absolutely.
having, like, oh, I bought this print of this picture. And especially if it's like the original print, it's like, oh, this, means even more because this is exactly what it was when it came out. And it kind of has that, like, falling apart aesthetic if it's pretty old.
Yeah.
But I think, like, my favorite album artworks, I just kind of, like, I think I was talking to Darian about this yesterday. It's just kind of like pictures that don't really make any sense. It's just like, they just kind of like threw something up there, but it really fits the aesthetic of the album for some reason. Because the thing that I realized about like album artwork is like whatever is on the cover is kind of what you have in mind. It's kind of like the picture part of what you have in mind when you listen to the album.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like when I listen to that new Copeland album, for example, I'm always thinking of like those clouds and like that aesthetic and just like, oh, this is how this works for the story that they're trying to tell.
Yeah.
And like one of my favorite album covers is Knocked Loose's first EP called Pop Culture, and it just has I'll show you. It just has a picture of like
Amazing.
a pit bull barking behind a chain link fence, and it's like this like really blurred like out of nowhere picture, but it's like this album is so insane that exactly fits like it fits. It's kind of like, oh, that's kind of something that I would see in like backwoods Kentucky walking down the middle of the street. You'd see a giant pit bull barking at you behind a chain link fence, and
Yeah.
that is almost exactly the aesthetic of this album.
Instead of
That's good.
just goes through your head.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like, I think it's so strange how like random pictures can just like speak what the album is.
Absolutely.
So that's all I really had to say about that. Now
Yeah.
we can jump back into Copeland
Well,
talk.
I'm kind of with you there because I showed you that one funk album that is like my
Oh, yeah.
favorite Johnny Guitar, Funk Beyond the Call of Duty.
Beyond the call,
Beyond-
beyond the Call of Duty.
That is like one of my favorite album covers
Hold
because
on, I gotta look this up.
you look at it and it's exactly what you expect it to be from a funk album.
Yeah.
It's so good. Johnny Guitar Watson, that's his name.
Johnny Guitar Watson.
Johnny Guitar Watson, Funk Beyond the Call of Duty. Look it up. It's a great funk album. It's fun. But we can jump right into talking about the Copeland's new album in more detail of song instead of art and feeling.
All right,
Well-
so I have a different opinion about Copeland than maybe the two of you do, because you all grew up on Copeland, I assume.
That's a fair assumption.
You know,
Yes,
through
actually.
your times and through your good and bad times, I would assume.
Yes.
However, for me, I'm a new Copeland listener. This wasn't my first time listening to them. I've actually been to a show with both of you to see
Yes.
Copeland.
That's
It was
true.
a good time.
And there's something about Copeland that's like, especially on this album, what I found was the instrumentation, like musically, insane. Like, very good. Especially on this album. I was like, they're doing so many insane things
Yeah.
and crazy things. Vocalist has like incredible lyrics, and I was like listening to the lyrics, I'm like, wow, these are like great poetry. His voice, boring as crap. And it just kind of like lulls over the entire, like he's not even singing bad, but it's just like, this is the same thing over the entire spectrum of their catalog. It's just like, this guy is not like progressing at all. He's not playing with his voice. He's not doing different tones. It's just like, this is what you get. And it just like goes
Yeah.
over their entire,
No, he found
every discography that they like, their entire discography or whatever, all the same.
he found his sound. Like
And
that
stayed.
was
And it
that
was
was
just like,
the
this is it.
Copeland sound. That's the Copeland sound. the instrumentation can be as wild and different and wacky because, as we discussed, it changed drastically.
Yeah.
If you
It
compare
did.
Beneath the Medicine Tree to.
But it's like on this album,
Bless
it
you.
was so good that I was like had to stop and be like, wow, that's so good. But then
Yeah.
it was just like for the first, I think, 3 songs on this album, I was like, boys, here we go again. Another
Here we
Copeland
go
album
again.
that sounds exactly the same for some reason, regardless of how good the instruments are. But what song was it that I played for you yesterday, Darian?
You played for
It's,
me.
Suddenly.
Suddenly, yeah.
Instruments in that one, so good because they like threw in some horn
You
section.
like that trombone.
I do.
You're a fan of that.
I love the good trombone. They're in the middle.
Yeah.
Because it's just like it was, classic Copeland up until that point, and then I was like, ooh, they did something
Yeah.
else.
They started.
There's different sounds
Yeah.
here than just woo and
they
whatever
started
that guy's
doing
voice
that in
sounds like.
Copeland. They started doing that in Ixera. They started doing that in Ixera.
Yeah. So I was pretty impressed with
What,
that.
the trombones and all?
Well, the horns.
No, they included horns in You Are My Sunshine.
That's right. Yeah, that's when they started doing that.
But anyway,
That's
that's
correct.
how I feel about Copeland in general. It's
And
like
I think that's
incredible
fair.
instruments, great lyrics. That guy's voice.
No, that's fair.
Ooh.
You gotta love Aaron Marsh, though.
I do think. I mean, he's brilliant. He's his lyrics are incredible. They're
Yeah.
fantastic. But yes, I do agree with you in terms of that. He had found his sound, and that became his sound.
Well, it's like that's kind of what I figured. Like when I went to the show with you all, I was
Yeah.
just like, I was listening, and we had been there for like almost 45 minutes, and I was just like, is this the same song? Because he just doesn't change. Like there's nothing about it that's just like, oh yeah, that one, And that's kind of why I was like, drawn to Suddenly a little bit, because I was like, oh, the horns, something I can remember about this song that's different than the entire other catalog.
Yeah, and for Johnny and I, it's kind of it's definitely a little different in terms of being able to distinguish song to song because
Yeah.
we've been listening to it for a long
Little
time.
bit of nostalgia
Little long
there.
time. So
Well, it's kind of like I feel that way a little bit about August Burns Red too, because it's like their song Empire stands out because it has that one part. It has the
Which-
one part with the
which
whoa
one
whoa
part?
whoas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're incredible musicians, obviously, and I was pretty impressed the last time that I saw them because Jake Lures has improved his vocals like live, extra like a lot, extra mentally, but
We'll go with it, yeah.
extra-mentally.
Extra-mentally.
That's also going to be on my T-shirt. I'm going to put out another T-shirt that says extra-mentally.
Are you gonna have a
because
different page for that altogether?
I tried to learn words, some like here and there. I don't have a word a day calendar, but I try to learn words. And then sometimes all of the words just sound good together. So I just, put them all together.
it's a good word.
Anyway,
I'm gonna start using
he's
that.
improved a lot, but it's still like all of it sounds good, but I can't really distinguish which song is which, because it's so like instrumentally like it's kind of like an orchestra, I guess, because there's certain things that you can tell about. Oh, this is the Hallelujah chorus. I know it because it's the Hallelujah,
Yeah.
But it's like any other kind of like piece that's that well written. It's kind of like there's nothing that stands out about it too much. It's all like very good and it's easy to listen to and it's beautiful, but there's nothing that really stands out about it.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. I do understand that.
So it's like I can appreciate Copeland and I can appreciate bands like August Burns Red, but they're not really my favorite because there's nothing about it that really sticks with me.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Well, you brought up August Burns Red. Should we talk about the recent show we went to a couple weeks ago?
Oh sure, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good time. You're wearing his pants.
I'm wearing whose? Okay, let me tell you about these pants.
This is a good story.
All right, let me bring up something about these pants. Okay, so when I was at the August Burns Red show with Johnny and his band, I was watching. I think it was Fit for a King, and I realized that the pit was terrible. Okay, so this was a sold out show.
There were a lot of people.
As many people as possible because sold out.
Yes.
And I was in the pit, because I like to be there from time to time. It's something that I enjoy if the pit is good, but it was
I enjoy
bad.
watching you in the
and
pit.
there was a lot of shoving and a lot of large men and a lot of aggression and things like that. And I'm not much of a person to push because I don't weigh a whole lot. I like the swinging of arms and other things because that's my style. And when the room is packed like it was, you can't really do that. So I was like, I gotta get out of here. So I like walked a couple of steps to the left, and I just got thrown into their washing machine of nonsense. And I was like, I can't do this. I almost like lost my mind. I was like, I just started like throwing hands because I was just trying to get out. Like, it got to that point. I was so mad that I felt like I was about to gain another form. Like I was like Ultra Instinct from Dragon Ball. I was like, oh.
You were ready to go. You would have skipped.
I was heated. So when August Burns Red came on, I had gone up to the balcony to watch the show, just because August Burns Red is so talented that they're a band that you can just watch.
Yes.
And it's fine. So I was sitting up there with Jason, a member of Johnny's band.
Yes.
Who's my friend.
He's
and
wonderful.
we were chilling up there, and I was texting another friend of mine that was at the show, and he was down in the pit watching the show, not participating because it sucked. And I was like, dude, Jake Lewis has on some like sick pants right now. Like those are cool pants. And he's like, yeah, dude, they're cool, I guess. And I continued to text this friend about those pants for like the next 2 days, to the point where he like got on Instagram and Jake had posted a picture from the show that night, and he was like, my friend commented on that picture. He's like, Jake, where'd you get those pants, dude? Because he was like so tired of me texting him. He like commented on this picture, like, Jake, where'd you get those pants? And Jake actually responded, and he's like, I think H&M. So I went to H&M and I bought those pants, and I'm wearing them right now.
That's such a good
And that was like the highlight of that evening, is that I finally got those pants.
You got Jake Lear's pants.
They are good pants.
Yeah, they're comfortable. I'm feeling them.
I look down and I think I'm looking at Jake Lear's legs.
That's it. This is.
It's wild.
Yeah, Jake goes to the gym a lot more than I do, so he's probably a little big.
Homeboy's buff.
Yeah.
He's got some muscles.
What do you think about the show, Johnny?
I thought, okay, so you weren't there for the very first band, Crystal Lake, which we're going to talk about them later too, because
so disappointed that I wasn't there.
They also released an album yesterday.
Oof.
So good.
It's so good. We'll get there in a second, but they were there. I was there for the opening of the show, and I had listened to some of Crystal Lake before, but not to the point where I was like, I'm familiar with this song that they're playing. Like, I couldn't do it song or lyric by lyric, but I was familiar enough to enjoy the show. And there weren't, like, the place was sold out, but not everyone had gotten there yet because it was the first band. People like to get to shows late for some awful reason, which
like
I
me.
can't stand.
It wasn't my
Sorry.
fault, though. I
Sorry,
lived very far away.
Ben, you had an excuse.
Also, to be fair, like, if you're not super, like, if you don't know the opening band and you're not super crazy about, being on time punctual, is it really so bad?
But,
is it really so bad?
So this is a perfect example of why you should go to shows.
Yes, I know.
To witness the first band. Because
you might.
Let me tell you, Crystal Lake blew it away.
Yeah.
Like, they were fucking incredible.
Yeah, they're great.
I was just sitting there in awe. There was enough room in the pit for there to be a good pit, which I don't get in there, and I'm not good at the mosh dancing. That's just not what I do. I love watching other people do it, but I myself cannot do it. I have a shallow shoulder socket, which has popped out at shows before. Twice one time in one show. It was a good time.
Dark.
It was painful. I could not feel my
Johnny,
shoulder.
tell us more about your dark past.
Well, so it was a cold winter night.
I'm just kidding. All right.
December 14th, 1994.
94? Wow. My dark past started on my first day.
I was born.
I was born.
No,
about the show.
Yeah, tell us
So-
about Crystal Lake.
Crystal Lake completely blew it away. I think they were honestly the best band of the night, apart from August Burns Red, because August Burns Red is just absolutely phenomenal, and they also recently did this Zelda song.
Yeah, we talked about that in the last episode.
We did indeed.
We did.
And they played it, and I loved it to death, and I was fangirling right there. Right then
And Johnny
and there.
actually melted in a puddle next to me, and I slipped in it.
I really did.
Whoa!
And that's how Ben broke his back.
But yeah, I guess we can just jump right into the old Crystal Lake album that you wanted to talk about.
Yes, so Crystal Lake's album is amazing. You should listen to it.
That was
It's
like
phenomenal.
yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yes. The album's called Helix.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up here. It's got 11 tracks on it, I think.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
So,
7, 8, 9, 10,
before we were doing the
12.
podcast,
12 tracks.
before we were doing the podcast, yesterday Johnny texted me. He's like, I want to talk about two albums. I want to talk about Copeland's new album, and I want to talk about Crystal Lake's new album. and I was cleaning my car. I had my headphones on, and I was like, I'm gonna pull up both of these albums because I think they just dropped. Well, that one dropped yesterday. I don't know when Copeland's album came out.
Valentine's
Day
Day.
before,
No,
like
the
2
day
days
before?
ago.
Yeah.
From the time of recording, 2
So
days ago.
I listened to both of them back to back, and obviously I had my own opinions about Copeland. But Crystal Lake, I've listened to a lot of metalcore, obviously, throughout the years, and American metalcore can be pretty the same. You know, it's riffs, it's heavy vocals, and then there's some singing from time to time, and then there's like
A breakdown or two.
yeah,
Yeah.
can be
As it
known,
happens.
and there's ambient guitar parts here and there, and that's about it. Crystal Lake's album, they're from Japan, so they have a lot of that like aspect thrown in, like of music that you probably wouldn't hear here, like J-pop
Yeah.
and like certain styles of rap that they have there. They threw all that in there, and there was like some elements of early Slipknot that I heard in there, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like they threw a whole bunch of different aspects that you probably wouldn't even hear in America, into their music, and I was like, this is insane. What was my favorite track on that album?
Was it Hail the Fire?
Hail the Fire, yes.
Hail the
Sorry,
Fire.
I don't know all the track names yet because I only listened the album through. But that was the one that I came back to like immediately after I started or finished listening to the album. I was like, I gotta hear that song again.
It's so good.
It has so many elements in it. Like I think he like started rapping at some point during that, and like the breakdown in it is my favorite. I love
It's a
it so
good one.
much.
It's very, very good.
But it's also like they're not just a metalcore band. Like they don't just do metalcore stuff. They also have some hardcore and maybe like melodic hardcore kind of
Yes.
stuff that's in there. They can do it all. And their vocalist probably has one of the best low screams that I've ever heard.
And it's crazy because
So
the dude is like, he's 5'4" at best.
Yeah.
Like he's not very tall, but
Yeah, he's great.
the homeboy can go low. Like he can go
Oh
low.
boy. And Darren, you didn't listen to any of this yet. have
I
you?
listened to Hail the Fire, I listened to Apollo, and I listened to
Aeon?
I listened to Aeon,
Yeah.
and I listened to Agony.
So they-
I've listened to those four.
They released Apollo a while ago,
They
and they
rele-
changed it a little bit for the
They-
album, I think.
They did?
Yeah, there was a
I
couple of
didn't
parts
catch
that. Yeah, there were a couple of parts that were like misplaced, I think, and they added some. I think like added on stuff afterwards, so they changed it a little bit. But,
Okay.
What'd you think about it?
Hail the Fire was great.
Oh yeah.
It was,
Yeah, that's great.
it was really good.
I remember I was sitting in
Um,
my car.
but
Sorry. Go on.
I do love Apollo. I think Apollo is the one that I do enjoy the most that I've heard so far.
Yeah, I think they released that one like quite a while ago.
Because they released it as like a double single with that and Aeon.
Aeon, yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing about Crystal Lake is that they've been a band in Japan for like 12 to 15 years, I think, is what people are saying, and they're just like now starting to get popular over here. So it's crazy to like see that because they released this album in Japan, I think like 2 or 3 months ago. And people are like, "Oh, why can't we have this album now?" And it's just like, "What? Where were you 15 years ago?" It's like you
Yeah.
just now heard of Crystal Lake, 15 years into their career, and it's like you're complaining about why you can't have one of their albums. It's like, hey, maybe you should have been a fan, however long ago.
In Japan, bands stay together really long times.
Oh,
Like just in general, they're able to stay together very, very long.
Well, there is this other Japanese band. They're a hardcore band called Sand.
Sand.
Okay.
Sand.
I like that.
And they also just became popular over here, like recently. Like I just saw a video of them playing. I think it was This Is Hardcore, and I looked at their album, and it came out in 2004. I was like, what?
What is this?
So it's just like a lot of Japanese bands are starting to get some hype over here, and it's really cool because it's changing the dynamic, especially of like metal and hardcore, and I think that's super awesome.
Good. That's awesome.
You'll have to send me that song or that
Sand.
band because
Sand.
I can't pull it up on Spotify.
What a
Yeah.
name.
It's too generic of a word for me to just search it.
Yeah, you're right.
Too generic of a word.
Look, sometimes you gotta have a band called Sand.
I keep getting all
Sand.
these like artists of like Sandy so and so, Sandra so and so.
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra
My favorite
Bullock.
album.
Absolutely.
Also, small thing. I listened to Rico Nasty for the first time.
Oh yeah.
And she's wild, but that's not important.
That's not important.
I just wanted to share that. It was kind of wild.
Is that your favorite song, Aaron? Is that your guilty pleasure song?
No.
Is that your sicko mode?
It's not.
Speaking of sicko mode, there's something that I want to say really quick.
Oh,
Here we go.
The fact that we got swindled for sweet victory at the Super Bowl is an absolute outrage.
It's horrible. Like, I'm so glad I didn't. Like, I forgot like what time it was, so I missed the halftime show.
It was.
And I'm
didn't
so
miss
glad
anything.
that I didn't waste my
Dude,
time.
I was so upset. And the fact that, like, I didn't need to see, I didn't want to watch just the episode, like the SpongeBob played on the big screen. I wanted the guys to come out. I wanted them to walk through the crowd. I would have been fine if Maroon 5 had done the song.
Yeah.
I thought that
That's
Maroon 5
what
was
I-
going to do this.
That was my understanding too. Was that Maroon 5 was going to perform the
Well,
song?
it's like I think there was like a Dallas Stars game that they were like, we fixed it. And they just like played the part from SpongeBob on the big screen. I was like, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
That's not fixing it.
like it's and they play it off like they play it like they made this homage to Steven Hillenburg who passed away. Where it's
No.
like, no, you guys like
You dropped
screwed
Travis Scott.
everybody. How dare you do that? Okay,
What an outrage.
what an
Oh,
outrage!
I was so pissed.
It was
off.
not.
Alright,
It was not good.
Let's get off of this topic.
I agree.
I guess it's my turn. Right?
What do you got, Ben? What do you have with us today?
I just wanted to talk about us.
Aw.
I wanted to talk about our relationship as friends.
Is this just because Valentine's Day?
Yes,
recently happened?
actually, because, why not?
Why
right?
not?
Well, actually, I just kind of wanted to let the audience get to know us a little bit better since this is our second episode. You know? And I just wanted to, talk about us, talk about our relationship, So, what I wanted to do was share about a good time that you've had with us individually. So, like, I would say something about Darian, and a good time I've had with Darian, and a good time I've had with Johnny.
I like where this is going.
All
So
right.
we're gonna have 6 stories.
Sure.
Yes.
What's your story, Ben? Give us some-
Let
give
me
it- lay it
think
out.
about a good time I've had with Darian.
Since
one-
he is directly across.
Yeah,
from
since
you.
it was also my idea,
Yes.
my topic,
Yes.
So
and
you
I don't want to put you on the spot with that.
That's
immediately.
fine. I will think about this while you tell me.
The thing that came to mind when I was thinking about a good time with Darian was when we went and saw Joseph in DC, and it wasn't really about the show, though the show was great.
The show was great.
But it was like the rigmarole that it took to get there and back. So it was like, we hadn't traveled a whole lot in DC. I know that you had a couple times before,
Mm-hmm.
but I was not accustomed to the metro,
Yeah.
the trains, and all that kind of stuff, and all the business. So it was like a really interesting experience just to be like, hey, let's get on the old metro and, travel up to DC and get lost like 8 or 9 times. We almost didn't make it home because on the way back, we got on this bus
Yeah.
and we went like 3 or 4 stops beyond where we were supposed to go. And then we went back to the original place, got on another bus, and
Yeah.
got lost on that bus. And
Because
we went somewhere else.
We had to take the metro buses because it was either the part of the orange line was down or most of the red line was down. So we had free shuttle buses to take us to the stops that we needed to get to. But we went to like one that was like 2 before where we needed to be. And we were waiting there for like an hour for something to happen and
Yeah.
nothing happened. And it was...
We were just like underneath of a bridge in the middle of DC, and we were just like sitting on the sidewalk. And we were like, I don't know if there's gonna be another bus, dude.
don't know
We're
if
gonna
this-
have to stay here. We're gonna have to call Johnny.
It was all...
When was this?
This was in the winter,
It was... Yeah.
in like 2 years ago, I
Yeah.
think.
Thereabouts.
And
We
I
went
think
to see them at the U Street Music Hall.
Joseph is, for those of you that don't know, is like an indie band. It's 3 sisters that all do. They used to do like a cappella kind of stuff, just them and their guitar, but they recently graduated to a full band kind of setup, and they're really great.
Really good.
I would recommend. But I think one of the other times it was at that same show that stood out to me was that me and Darian kind of had this theme song that we had been playing together for a little while. And me and Darian, for some reason, whenever we get together and play music, Teenage Dirtbag will come up like almost every time without fail.
Without
I think
fail.
it's one of those that I actually just know on the guitar because it's super easy. So I'll just like start playing it
Yeah.
on acoustic just cuz. And we'll just play Teenage Dirtbag almost every time that we get together to play music. And we got up to the show, and the guy that was opening, I don't really remember his name. Do you know who
I
that
don't
was?
remember his name either.
But
he
he
was
was
sort
just
of a pseudo country.
yeah, he was just like kind of a
pop-ish.
country guy, wore cowboy boots, cowboy hat.
His
and
dad played the lap like steel guitar.
lap steel, yeah, and he was just like off the wall kind of country hipster kind of guy. And we were just chilling there, and he's like, all right, so for my second to last song, I have this cover. And me and Darian just, like, looked at each other, and we're like, and his dad started playing that opening riff on the lap steel. I was like, there's no way. Like, this guy is going to start playing Teenage Dirtbag right here.
And then
He did. He dropped a great cover.
It was just like, what?
Dropped that cover of Teenage
It
Dirtbag.
was so good.
But it was one of those, like, moments that I was like, this is our theme song, Darian. We're here together. We went through this whole thing to get to the show, and it was like a pain in the butt to get here, and we made it, and they're playing the theme song.
Yeah.
And it was great.
It was wild.
That's a memory that I have with Darian.
That was a good one. I
That's
do
a good
memory.
appreciate
that.
Good
That's
old
good.
time.
Wow. I never knew that happened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was a whole thing.
Wow.
Let me talk about Johnny really quick.
Okay, I'll listen.
Let me dive into an experience that I had with
I'm
Johnny.
curious if it's going to be the same story that I have.
It might not be, but honestly, one of my standout moments with Johnny was we were in a band for a little while.
Couple.
Yeah, we were in a couple of bands. The last band that we were in was a band that was it was kind of like a startup from the ground up.
Yes.
Pretty much. We had to like buy all of our own equipment, and we had to write all the songs, and we had to do a whole bunch of just kind of like really difficult things to get this band off the ground. We had to buy all the merch, and we had to figure out all this stuff on how to start a band and stuff like that. And it was like really my first time writing music, because I wrote a lot of the music by myself just on the bass, which was, really difficult for everyone else to pick up because how do you relate literally the easiest instrument to all the other difficult instruments? And so it was like a big challenge to get this band off the ground. But the first practice that we had, it was just me and Johnny who were there first, and I was just kind of like showing him through some of the riffs. And me and Johnny have this pretty decent chemistry
Yes.
when we're playing instruments.
It's true.
We were a good rhythm section, let me say that.
We're
And,
a good section.
It was just like the first time that I'd actually heard, my music with any kind of, other instruments, and Johnny picked up on it really quick. And it was just like, we had this moment. I was just like, this feels good, because we were like playing through the riffs, and they sounded really good. And I was like, this is great, Johnny.
It was a good time.
And it was like a real good bonding moment for us, because it made me feel good that the music was sounding like, not just bass guitar by itself.
Yep.
And like, it was like a real building moment,
Mm-hmm.
And we just had this moment where we kind of looked at each other, and I was like, yeah. So that's like one of my big moments with Johnny. It's not really like a big memorable story or anything.
No, we don't
like
have
that.
a theme song or anything.
Yeah, but
not yet.
it was,
Not
yeah,
yet.
you're right. But it's just like one of those moments that's just like defining for our friendship, because we just like locked in that moment of like, ooh, this might be good, like, because we'd gone through so many struggles with that band to get it off the ground, and it was just like we kind of looked at each other and we're like, this might be something good,
It was one of the first moments we had where we're like, we could actually do this.
Yeah, and it was like so cool just to have that moment, even though eventually that band didn't go anywhere. But
But we don't need to speak on
We don't
that.
talk
it was
about
just
that.
it was a good moment is all I'm saying. Yeah, like that's just one of those that I always hang on to. It's just like, good old chemistry between us, and one of those realizing moments of like, yeah, we could do something here, or like all of our struggles we'd had at that point had kind of come to something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's also very important that a drummer and a bassist are in sync with one another like
Yeah,
that.
the good old rhythm section.
Yes.
A
Yes.
little bit important.
There's
Yeah.
something special about the relationship between a drummer and a bassist.
Uh-huh.
I do love it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I have.
That's
just
good.
hanging out with
That's
y'all,
good.
and starting the podcast, obviously.
Yeah, these are some good memories we're
Love
forming
you-
here.
Love you guys.
Oh, man. Happy
Well.
Valentine's Day.
So sweet.
Belated.
Who
Who wants to go next? Anybody
I'll
got
go
anything else?
next.
Johnny can
I've
go
got a
next.
fresh memory
All
about
right.
Ben. that I can share.
A fresh memory of me.
Okay, well, it's not the
Fresh.
memory itself. When it happened is not fresh, but it is a fresh memory to have.
Okay.
Fresh to death.
It was.
Is it about the time that we were playing in the band live and you hit me in the back with one of your sticks?
No, but that was a good time too.
That's also something I remember very well.
I don't remember hitting you. I think my stick broke.
Okay.
That was during the. Was that
I think it was.
during the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus show?
No, that was one of the times at the Grog and Tankard, which was a horrible.
Oh, that was
Oh.
horrible.
I'm pretty sure it was the second time we played.
I'm so glad that place shut down.
Yeah, it sucked.
Did it actually?
It did. Yeah, like the place doesn't exist anymore.
I didn't know that, but that's hilarious.
The guy was really. The guy there was really nice. Ross, I believe is his name. Like, he's a great guy. It's just the venue itself.
Was trash.
Well, it's not even that the venue itself was trash. It's just no one ever came out there.
Yeah, it was like in this really weird part of town that was like next to the highway that it was like a stop off that nobody ever stopped off at.
Like, I think if it were in a different location or if it had just had some better marketing, it could have been a decent stop
Yeah.
for bands and such. But it wasn't a good location. There wasn't enough. There just wasn't enough talk about it, so
Yeah.
it eventually, due to lack of attendance,
It fell off.
yeah, it just stopped.
Anyway,
existing.
sorry to jump in the middle of your
No, it's all good.
memories.
There were some
really-
good memories there of me hitting you in the back unknowingly with the drumstick. But the memory I had, we were not playing, but we were in fact enjoying music.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Live, actually. We were enjoying it live at this event called Warped Tour 2015.
That was good.
Yes, it
That
was.
was good.
Yes.
I think you know what story I'm about to share.
Yeah, go for it.
Because it is like my favorite story from that day. Well, I had a lot of great stories from that day because it was an amazing time. So good.
It sounds
so
like
good.
it was a one time after the other thing, it seemed like. And I'm sad that I missed that
man.
year.
Yeah.
I did miss that year.
But this doesn't solely have to do with Ben here, but the story that Ben is involved in on this. Don't play with the fire, Darian.
Leave me alone. Tell your story. Don't worry about
I'll
me.
tell my story. But anyway, so we were about 4 or 5 bands in to Warped Tour 2015, the Virginia Beach stop. And I think it was Miss May I had just played.
They were great that day.
They were so good that day.
Not
They
too
were-
hot recently though. Anyway, keep going.
Yes. So Miss May I played, like 5 pits opened up for Miss May I.
Yeah.
And I remember him mentioning something about looking out into the crowd and how he was having a rough day, but seeing how the crowd was responding to the band that day, it made the day for him.
Yeah.
But this story has nothing to do with Miss May I. It actually has to do with the band following, which is Bless the Fall. Yes. So Bless the Fall starts playing on the other main stage, and we're about 3 songs in, and we, being the metalcore kids that we are, we're like, where's the pit? Where's the pit? The pit's not opening. Where the fuck is the pit?
Where's the pit?
So we look at each other, we're like, there's no pit opening. Like,
We were hungry for it.
yes. We're like, I guess we got to do this ourselves, guys. Boys, let's go. We found another random dude. So it was 3.
I'm glad my memory with you could also be a random dude.
Yes. Could also be with a random guy.
Yes.
It was a good time though. Like I remember
Random
this
dude.
a lot too.
So it was our friend Micah, Ben, myself, and Rando Dude.
Random.
Yes, random dude. We're like, dude, we gotta open up a pit. Like, this isn't. Where's the pit? So what we did is we all get in line with one another. We go out into the middle of the crowd, and you guys can't see the hand motions I'm doing on the table here, but just imagine them there.
We basically get in a circle and put our fists out like we're about to do like one of those break,
Yes.
like
But we're waiting for the breakdown to happen. And so the song's building up, the breakdown's about to happen, and as soon as that breakdown hits, we throw our arms back and open up this decently sized pit. It wasn't too messy or anything, like it was a good pit.
Yeah.
And it stayed open for the whole set. And we were so proud of that pit. It was like our child. And it was just this lovely bonding moment between the 3 of us
I think,
and Rango
like,
Dude.
because I think, just like having one of those moments where it's just like you look at each other and you're just like, we're going to remember this forever. And it's kind of like that same moment that I had with Darian when we were at the show.
Yeah.
And with Johnny when we were playing the music. It's just like before we opened the pit and all of our fists were out and we're about to spread our arms and open it up, we all just kind of looked at each other and went, yeah.
This is good.
It's gonna happen.
We're going to remember this forever if it works.
And it worked.
And it did work. Yeah, it
And
was
so
great.
we remember it forever.
That's awesome.
And that was like one of the first times that Ben and I had actually like hung out
Yeah.
outside of playing music. And it was a great day. It was a great time. I almost died of a heat stroke during Fit for a King set later that afternoon.
I think everyone was almost dead at that point. There was like water sometimes back then at World Tour. It was like they were giving out free water, but the line was so long because it was like 90 degrees that day.
It was hotter than that. It was like 95.
Yeah, but it was like, and it was a crowd full of people, so it was
And
like
we were on
even
blacktop.
yeah, even hotter than that, I guess. And just like the line for water was everywhere, just like wrapped around whatever it
It
was.
was also on the other side of the whole.
Yeah, so it was like there were
campus
so
around
many
you.
good bands that day that if you went to get water, you would miss a band. So it was like so many good bands back to back
Ugh.
that it was just like if you went to get water, you'd miss a band. So
Dang.
it was like we went without water for way longer than we did.
It was so bad.
It was like I was carrying Johnny at some point. Like we brought him out. What about Johnny to Darian?
Johnny
This should be like something pretty good, I think, because y'all have known each other for quite a while.
There's so many stories.
minute.
I don't even know which one to share.
You
Like-
can't share mine though.
I can't share yours.
No.
Okay. Well, I won't share yours.
You better not.
No, when you brought this topic up, like yours is like, okay, I've got yours, done, got it. It's a good story. I'm gonna tell that one. But with Darian, he and I have known each other. Like you and I don't need to talk about you in third person. You and I have known
I'm,
each
like,
other.
right here.
We've known each other for so long, Darian. Like, where
Just
do we
pick
even
something.
begin? Let me be
Pick-
mushy and
You don't
Darian,
have to pick
it's
the
Valentine's
best.
Day.
You don't have to pick
Let
the
me-
best time. Just pick a time because a lot of them were really good.
Yes.
A lot of them were just really good.
There are so many good ones, but one of my favorite ones that comes to mind, and one of the most memorable ones, this was, 2 years ago? You and I had gone on one of our many hikes that we've done. You know
I said
exactly.
you're not allowed to talk about mine.
Is that the one you're going to share?
Yes.
Okay, I'll switch it.
Somebody's gonna
All
have
right,
to pick
let
something
me tell
You
a
else.
different
pick
story.
something else. I want to talk about that one.
Okay, you can talk
Get
about
outta
that
here.
one. All right, how about this? You share that story and I'll think about a different one.
Okay.
Yeah, Darian, you go. You
Okay, I'll share my
Let's
Johnny
not put Johnny right on the spot
'Cause-
because he's Johnny on the spot.
Johnny on the spot.
Hey.
So he was about to share my story, and it
Had a
was
feeling.
he and I enjoy hiking as a recreation, especially together. It's fun. We
Yeah.
recently did a sunrise hike, which
That's another good one,
The
too.
very first one was a good time with Trevor and his friend.
I
was
can't remember his name for the life
I
of me.
honestly can't. I feel.
I
bad
hope you're
about
not listening, bro.
it. Sorry, guy. But this was another hike that he and I had done at White Oak Canyon, which is close to our sunrise spot. But we had gone up on, it was a weekday, I'm pretty sure, like a weekday after work, I think.
It was something like that.
Because I came and picked you up. Remember?
That's
Straight from
right.
work. I came and picked
yeah,
you
it
up
was
from
right
work,
after work.
and we drove straight up to White Oak. And it was cloudy, you know. It was a nice temperature, really cool. Got to the top,
Literally.
and sat. We ate for a little while. Well, I think whatever. We sat up there and just hung out and hiked it. And on the way back down, it started to like pour rain.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that was only part of the amazing experience about it. Was just that we had to get back down. And it's not like we ran. We just made it back down at our usual pace. But at that time, I was like kind of dealing with some things heart related, and I just didn't know what to do about it because I'm me and anxious and not confident about things.
Not physical heart related though.
No, not physical.
Yeah, Darian
heart
actually
related.
had a
emotional
stroke.
one. The emotional one. Oh no, computer, please don't fall asleep.
We got technical difficulties
Technical
right now.
Oh, we're still
But
in.
we're
Yeah,
still
we're
alive. Okay.
Anyway, Darian had an aneurysm on the way down. And Johnny rescued him.
Because I was not actually no, I was not a nursing school.
He sprouted a helicopter out of his back and
Yeah.
flew me to
Called
UVA.
911.
Yep.
It's true.
Radioed in for help.
It was a great story.
So that particular one helped me kind of suss out things that I was dealing with, and as per the way Johnny does, offers good life advice about some things.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It was just like a chill moment while hiking.
It was one of the more recent ones that kind of, be like, I'm still glad that I'm friends with this guy. So it's just it was one of the best. The fact that we got absolutely like drenched
Yeah.
and had to sit in my car all wet and dripping.
It's just
And
like you were at your lowest moment and you're like, man, you know what?
it was really good. I felt a lot better afterward. And
Yeah.
it was just fun. It was great.
I think there's just something about like doing stuff like that, especially hiking, that just kind of like brings you to a like part of everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you realize, especially when you go hiking and you see how big everything else is, you realize like, oh, I'm small.
Yeah. You
know,
you're detached from everything.
and especially
you're
when
not, connected like by like phone or whatever. The only connection you have in that moment is with the person that is with you.
Yeah, because it's kind of like you both have that moment at the same time of like, we're small, but we're small together.
So that helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
And it was fun. We got drenched and then we rode home and we listened to Copeland driving through this rainy fog. It was humid but cold at the same time.
And it sounded the same. It was like a smooth soundtrack over the top of our lives.
Oh man.
But that is definitely one of the moments that I would recall back to frequently when wanting to feel good.
Aw. I love that was like the same one that we had as our memories for one another.
Because it was good.
It was a really good time.
It was a really good one.
It was
a
top
really
tier
good
memory.
time.
Everything beneath that is just going to be weak.
It was top tier, but I mean, I could list like one of the times when we lived.
Well, don't list too many more. You're going to take Johnny's
No,
again.
no. Go on.
Well, it was like
Yeah, keep saying good things about Johnny.
Yeah, come on. Make me feel good.
Well, I mean, just the other one that like really stands out to me was when I lived on that house on 220 or 522.
Yeah.
Old Turnpike. And it was nighttime, pitch black. I had the keyboard in my room, and we sat there and we played Copeland and sang for a couple hours just in the dark, and it was a great time.
That's right.
That was
a good one.
It's just moments like that is they happen like frequently-ish, or at least less frequently than they used to, but they still happen, and they happened, which is what I really appreciate.
Yes. And I believe they will continue to happen.
Johnny, what's a new memory that you have
A
about
new memory?
dairy?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
One of the ones I was thinking about are new. Well, we had a great breakfast this morning.
Oh, yeah.
It was so good.
It wasn't.
Yeah, I think Darian and I are going to have a great experience this evening because...
Oh, my God.
So... Happy Valentine's Day, boys. No, so Darian and I are going to go see Copeland tonight. Spur of the moment, very spur of the moment. Like, we found out they were playing 3 hours away. Oh, God, there's so many good memories that come up when I tell other stories.
Just pick one.
Yeah,
I know.
Pick one that happened.
But tonight will probably be a great one.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be a good time.
It's going to be a good time.
So, there's so many. There's the Pittsburgh show that you were with, or you went to. You were there too.
I was.
Dan.
Wow.
You broke your hand.
I was there.
You broke your hand.
I did break my hand at a show, but we don't talk about that because it's weak, boy.
It's weak.
If you get injured at a show, you're trash. I'm just kidding.
No, so, I mean, there was also the time that Darian and I and Jacob, and our friend Jacob, and my dad went to New Jersey to do disaster relief after Hurricane Sandy.
That was
Oh, man.
I was trying to tell that story to someone like the other week, and I forgot the name of the hurricane. That
You can.
It was one of
It's
them.
fine. Yeah, it was one of those mini hurricanes that came through. No, but I mean that's another one I could share. I'll go ahead and share that. I'll just share
you
it.
just
Dive in.
did.
That's the
You
one.
Just shared.
Yeah,
it.
that's the story. The end.
This.
No, so we went up to Hurricane Sandy.
How was she?
Yeah, she was great.
She was great.
She was trash.
Sorry, that's
actually.
disrespectful.
She was.
All right.
She was very trash. No, so we
I'll
just.
see myself out.
I don't know if there was like anything. Well, no, there was this one specific story that I could share. But that entire experience is a phenomenal memory of going up and helping people who were at their lowest of lows, who had lost everything, and just sort of being there to help them with the smallest stuff. Or not. Well, in this case, it wasn't the smallest stuff. It was literally we went and completely gutted their houses.
We gutted houses that needed it because people. I mean, and this was months after it had hit. This
It was about 6 weeks. Yeah.
it was a good while after it had hit.
Thanksgiving week 2012.
2012. And
Yes.
So it's just kind of like a humanizing experience, I guess, just to be at that kind of level with each other, I suppose.
I mean, it felt great to be. It felt like I was doing kind of one of the things I really do enjoy, and that's helping people.
Yes.
Like that's one of the things I like to do the most.
Right.
And it was where I felt like I needed to be. It's good.
Yeah, it was a good time. It
was great.
And we had a lot of music moments there. We met some pretty great
Did you all listen to Copeland again?
We did. We did.
While we were there?
Yes, we did.
Did we?
Yes, we did.
There's just like this dull sound that goes over top of y'all's entire relationship.
It's not dull. It's good.
Beautiful music with dull sound over top that goes.
It's good. Leave him alone.
We did play Copeland up there.
I guess, yeah, because I brought. Well, I don't. Did I bring a ukulele? There was one there.
No, you brought your ukulele. There was a grand piano there.
Yeah.
And we played a lot of music, and Copeland was one of them. Yeah. It was a good time.
It was a good time.
But there was also this other time.
There's too many times.
Too many times.
We're gonna have to wrap it up here soon.
Okay. Well, there will be other stories to share in other podcasts.
We can't share.
I mean, I
share every moment.
So
that
I shared one moment with Johnny.
Yes.
I'm gonna share my Ben moment. It was one of the first times Ben and I had linked up to like write music, and this was back when we had like that basement apartment.
Okay.
We made the space.
The space.
The space. Like, cause that's like your favorite thing to do with a music space is to make it the space.
Yeah.
So like it's fun letting you do that, and then like when we wrote when I started writing Calypso, and
yeah, we played that at Nick's house, right?
Yeah.
To start with.
We started doing it there.
I love
Because I think I was house sitting and you came over.
Yeah.
And we played. We figured something out.
I love that bass line still. I love it.
It's really good. But we made the space in my apartment, and I like everything else fell away when we played.
Yeah.
Everything just like there was nothing else but you and I playing this song, and that
we pumped out a lot of good tunes too.
We did.
It was really fun, and we played Teenage Dirtbag at some point. I'm sure at that.
At that
even
juncture.
at that level.
Yeah. No, it was a good time.
Yeah.
But it's like it's that moment where you are one of like the few people that I think I've ever felt like you valued me as a musician, and that means a lot to me because I don't feel like I value myself that way.
Well, I mean, you're really good at it, so.
I mean, I try to be okay, and that's my goal. But
try to get you to believe that.
that's why. But
You're great,
that moment,
Darian.
Darian, believe it, damn it.
that moment in particular was kind of what it's like. Yeah, I'd like to keep this guy around, and I feel bad. And I still think about it, and I still feel terrible.
That was the moment that you decided not to cast me out.
Yeah. Well, no, the very first time we had met, I'm pretty sure it was the first time we had met, or the first time we'd ever hung out in any sort of setting outside of Nick's basement at the time.
Yeah.
Was when we went to that park out in wherever it was.
Yeah.
And I like totally rapped over you, rapping. What was it? Gangster's Paradise.
Yeah, it had to be something like that.
I
don't only know so many rap songs.
It was an older rap song. That you were
probably
rap
was
over,
Riding Dirty because I still know.
It was Riding Dirty. That was the one because I rapped the Weird Al lyrics over top of you.
Oh, okay.
To cut you off, and I felt terrible. And I still think about it, and I'm like, I'm like the worst. But you still decide to talk to me, so I think you probably forgot about that happening.
No, it's not.
But. Yeah,
I did actually forget about that. It's okay.
So yeah, I'm a jerk. Remember, haha.
Darian sucks. The end. End of podcast.
End of podcast. And that's my story about Ben and I.
Well, that's nice, Darian. I appreciate that.
It is a good story.
Thanks, man.
Well, you know what, y'all? Let's wrap it up. We're about I was about to say 108 minutes in.
108
Y'all have been here forever.
minutes.
No, we're about an hour in.
Okay.
So,
Hour and 10.
So
y'all want to wrap it up?
all right. Anything you're looking forward to, working on doing? What are you
I might go to the show with y'all later.
doing? Yeah, I'd be about
But
it.
yeah, I've been pretty into taking pictures at shows. So when I heard that this was going to be a smaller one, I think I was just going to roll down there and start taking some pictures tonight. Because I've been starting to do like show photography and stuff like that. I've been really interested in that. But other than that, I'm probably going to go to United Blood in Richmond, which is like a big hardcore fest. And they just released the lineup yesterday or 2 days ago.
Is it
Why
hot?
haven't I heard of this?
Huh? Oh, because you don't like hardcore music?
Oh, I like hardcore music.
You like metalcore music. There's a difference.
Okay,
It's fine.
It's not that I don't like. I like hardcore music. It's just not like the style of music that I typically go to.
Oh, okay.
Is it fire? Is it a fire lineup?
It was a little better last year.
Okay.
There's about 25 bands playing, and I like 8 maybe.
Is
You know?
Kublai Khan on there? Not Blues?
No, sir.
Damn.
So.
But yeah,
So
I think
Johnny
it should
doesn't
be.
wanna go now.
Yeah, he's not gonna go because those are the two hardcore bands that like kept him in it. I'm done.
Code Orange? God.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good time. I've been looking forward to that for a little while. But yeah, that's all
Okay.
so far. What are you all doing?
What are you doing, Johnny?
What are you doing, Darian?
What do y'all got coming up?
Well, okay. We're going to see Copeland tonight.
Okay, yeah, I've heard about that.
As we know. And tomorrow I'm gonna go see Julie Nunes in Richmond, and I'm excited. And by the looks of it, not a lot of people have bought tickets, so it might be a really small, really intimate show, which I'm kind of looking forward to. I'm really
especially if
looking
it's
forward
an artist that's like really important to you.
Oh, she's very important
Then
to me.
it's always good.
Super duper. So I'm excited for that, and Dodie's gonna be in town, but that's like at the end of the year, so I've got a lot of time to wait for that.
Enough time to fangirl and process how you're gonna fangirl when she shows up.
I mean, she's kind of like selling out at places now, and
That's cool.
Pretty big places. So she's, it's not like small intimate shows, but I will probably die if I see her in real life.
Nice.
But
you will if you see her at this show. And
neither here.
Darian's gonna die at the end of this year.
That is gonna be the end of my existence.
I enjoy Darian.
As we've talked about,
I would be sad and also homeless.
And also, you're buying a house. You could do that on your own.
Johnny, what do you got coming up besides buying a house?
Well, I'm buying a house.
Yeah, Johnny's buying a house. Everyone come to Johnny's house. It's at never mind.
We're gonna
It's
do a house
not
show.
bought yet, or really, I haven't picked the house that
For
I'm
housewarming, we'll do a house show.
Where are you
my
gonna?
god, I absolutely would.
Yeah, we're gonna throw a house show at Johnny's house.
So
do you
short
got?
term, well, I'm gonna go see Copeland tonight.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
weird. Yeah, they're in town, and so I figured, hey, why not? I actually just found out this morning that they're playing tonight.
Oh, really?
So I bought my ticket.
You don't say.
Wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we're gonna go see Copeland. I'm gonna while I'm gonna be there, every time Aaron Marsh opens his mouth.
Opens his stupid monotone.
I'm just gonna imagine
I'm sorry, Aaron Marsh, if you're listening. Obviously, you're a huge fan of our podcast that has 2 episodes. Come find me. We'll fight. We'll literally get into it. And I'm sure you'll...
Literally, Aaron will open his mouth and Ben will just be like,
I mean, it's not like he's going to yell at me, right? I don't know if he has that capacity.
Oh my gosh.
oh no!
I'm sorry, Johnny. Where else are you going to be?
Well, I am going to be buying my plane ticket to Ireland. Here. Yeah, I'm going to go to Ireland.
So if
this
you all live
year.
overseas and you're a fan of our 2-episode podcast, you can visit Johnny.
Or I can visit you.
Yeah, Johnny will come find you if you listen to our podcast.
I will. Please let me know where you live.
He's doing a huge meetup.
Please give me food.
Please.
No, I was really hoping you guys could join me.
Well, I'm glad you're still going on the old adventure.
I can't not pass it up. It's one of those things where even though you guys aren't able to join me this time, I can't pass up the opportunity because
For sure.
I know that I'm going to go to Ireland again with you guys. You guys have to go with me.
Okay.
Even though I've never been before. I know you guys have to go with me.
And you're going to love it.
You guys have to pour the perfect glass of Guinness.
Okay.
Yes.
With you.
Yes.
You only get one shot.
Yeah, you only get one try.
This is it.
Yes.
You got to practice before you go.
If I fuck up this first time, I'll just go with the
You'll
disguise next
never
time.
be able. No, you can't do it after you do it once.
Johnny will walk in
They
on
won't let you
stilts
try
wearing
again.
a giant trench coat and a mustache.
Hello, I'd like to pour a glass of Guinness. The black stuff, as they say here. A pint of the black stuff, eh?
Yes. So that's something I'm gonna do while I'm at
Awesome.
the Guinness. While I'm in Dublin.
Cool.
How's your band going? You all got anything that you're working on?
Shh.
Okay, all under wraps still.
Yes.
So nothing.
That means nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing's happening.
That means nothing's happening.
Jason is currently out of commission right now, so we can't really do
Jason
much.
is Johnny's bass player, also my friend that I mentioned earlier.
He's also my friend.
Also,
He is our friend. He is.
He's sweet and amazing.
I love that guy so
All right.
much. Jason, if you're listening, fuck you. I love you so much.
Oof. Woof. Okay. Well,
All right. A
that's
lot of
it.
strong opinions here on the podcast. I'm glad you all could join us. My name's Ben.
I'm
Bye.
Johnny.
And I'm Darian.
Peace out, y'all.
Check, please.
I've got it all, it seems.